Guys, most of the gaming news that you see now is just negative. You know, there's a lot of YouTubers that all they do is just moaning on about everything that's wrong with the gaming industry. How EA have laid off 3 cleaners, so they're going to go bankrupt. All that clickbait fucking titles. It's just endless moaning. And so I thought, let's cheer people up a bit. What can we do to cheer people up? And I thought, how about 10 games that I would really like to see remastered, redone, with modern AAA graphics and big budgets, bringing back multiplayer in the games where it's applicable. So I've compiled a list of 10 games, and unfortunately I don't have game footage for all of them, so I have had to use the actual launch trailers, which means that the graphics that you're going to see may make you vomit because some of them are going to be in 240p pixelated filth. So let's start with a game that I absolutely played to death. I actually ran the UK fan site. It ended up being the European. In fact, it ended up being the most popular fan site in the world for this game. I got to meet the publishers. I talked quite often to the developers. That game, guys, is Hidden and Dangerous 2. What a game this was. You were part of a 4-man SAS team, and it was the only way to play this was co-op. It has been re-released kind of, but without multiplayer, so yeah, single player, forget it. This game was best played in co-op. It was brutal. It was fantastic. You had to plan every move. It was so realistic. And if one of you died, you pretty much let your entire team down. And would let you know as well. Oh yeah, this game was huge. It had loads and loads of missions, fantastic missions as well. Missions that would take you ages to complete. And you had to be stringent on how you did them missions. And they were set all across many different theatres. It was just one of the best World War II games ever created. And I can't understand why this hasn't been remastered, redone, because it would sell by the fucking millions. It really would. First, third person, it had everything, this game. So that's the first one. These aren't in any particular order, guys. This is just a list. Now, continuing the World War II theme, you guessed it, Battlefield 1942. It is still my favourite Battlefield game, and I've played them all. And this is still the best Battlefield game in my opinion. It had everything. It had a fantastic set of maps that really brought home the conflict, and they were so well made, the maps. It just made the gameplay, the multiplayer, so damn good. I mean, playing this with 64 players was just a joy to behold. It was just fantastic. I mean, I could go on all day about my favourite map. I mean, Wake Island was just a masterpiece. But then El Alamein was another great. Tobruk, another great map. These maps were just well thought out. And it wasn't like Battlefield of today. Honestly, these played nothing like Battlefield of today. Literally nothing. Battlefield of today is just Call of Duty with a few vehicles. This was all-out warfare, and I don't get it why they don't remake these. Because these were, I mean, we saw Battlefield saying we're going back to our roots. No, you fucking didn't. You went nowhere near your fucking roots. This is your fucking roots. Go back, do it, or get someone else to do it. Next one, Test Drive Unlimited 2. Now, I know there's a Test Drive Unlimited 3 coming next year, but I'm scared that it's going to get modernised badly. You know what happens to games when they release a sequel, it's usually awful. I'd just like them to do this again, because this game had everything. You know Forza? Imagine everything that Forza's got times 100. This does everything Forza's got. Forza is a big pile of festering rhinoceros diarrhea compared to Test Drive Unlimited 2. Test Drive Unlimited 2 had huge, gorgeous world, shit tons of cars, but it was the realism that brought you into the game on Test Drive. I mean, if you wanted a car in Test Drive Unlimited 2, you had to get in your car, drive to the freaking garage where the car was, and you couldn't just drive to any garage. If you wanted a Ferrari, you had to go to a Ferrari dealership. So you had to find that in the town. You would drive in there, park it in the car park, get out your car, walk across the car park, through the door, go into the showroom and buy your car. I mean, it was It was life. It wasn't just a racing game. Yeah, it had all the races that you get in Forza. It had your off-road, your on-road, your different types of races, your competitions and all of that jazz. But it also had the realism. It had the realism. It had a casino long before GTA 5 had a one. And in this one you didn't use real fucking money either. You also had houses and yachts. You could buy furniture. You could walk into clothes shops. You had to buy your own clothes. You know what I'm saying? Nomse. This was the ultimate driving game. It's a shame the driving physics weren't great, but hey, I tell you what, with today's technology, this would be, and I tell you what, if Test Drive Unlimited 3 gets the act together, will be the best driving game ever made. Next we have Star Trek Bridge Commander. Pretty much the only good Star Trek game that ever released. Well, Klingon Honor Guard was shite, let's be honest. I mean, in Star Trek Online, this was it. They tried to redo it with Star Trek Bridge Crew for VR, but it's just not the same. It lacked the kind of good missions and the depth that Bridge Commander had. I would love to see them just remake this game because it was really, really great and I think it would sell well. I really do. Next we move into a bit of RTS, guys. Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2. Another game that's just not available anymore. You can't even play this one now. You can't find it anywhere. I loaned my copy out to somebody and I haven't had it back, and I'll never see that again, which is a bit of a shame. I would love to see this game redone because it was a fantastic RTS. I played this for hours and days, years, guys. This was a cracking RTS game. The trailer here does not do any justice to this game at all. Anyone who's played this will know exactly what I'm talking about. One of the top, it's the best Lord of the Rings game ever made. Not that it has much competition. Next, guys, a game that I retro reviewed, and I also had pretty much the biggest website for fansite when this game came out, and that is Mafia, made by the same people that did Hidden and Dangerous 2. In fact, the lead designer for Mafia and Hidden and Dangerous 2, Daniel Vavra, went on to form Moho Studios, who are the studio behind Kingdom Come Deliverance. So you can see where his talent comes from. But Mafia had it all. Great story, great characters, an amazing living and breathing town. I mean, this was a game where you had to stick to the speed limits. Or the cops would have you. Can I just say, can we just stop, Mafia, stop. Just cut. Can I go back in time to Test Drive Unlimited 2? One thing that I forgot to mention in Test Drive Unlimited 2, the police. They come after you in Test Drive Unlimited 2. But do you want to know something that's amazing? In multiplayer, if some guy who was just, a random guy who was in the world playing, because you could have multiple people playing this, if he was being chased off the police and he was coming near where you are, you had the option to jump in the police car and be the police chasing this other player. I mean, that genius! It was fucking great. Right, back to Mafia. So, Mafia had everything. I mean, you had to watch your speed, you had to obey the lights, because if the police saw you breaking the law, they'd come after you. And you didn't want that kind of shit coming down on you when you've got a corpse in the boot. You know what I'm saying? And Mafia just had everything again. It was just a fantastic game, a very immersive game, a great storyline. It was just awesome, guys. And I would love to see that redone. Star Wars Jedi Academy. And while I'm talking about Star Wars Jedi Academy, because I don't have much footage from that, I'm going to show you the next one, which is Star Wars Dark Forces 2, which I actually reviewed, a retro review, just a few weeks ago. I would like both of these games redone with AAA graphics and all the razzle-dazzle that comes with new modern big budget games, mainly because I would love to get the multiplayer back for these games, because the multiplayer in these games, as anyone who was alive playing it back then, was fantastic, and they'll testify to that too. It was some of the best multiplayer I've ever had, to be honest with you. Which brings me on to the next game, which was really good in multiplayer, Command & Conquer Generals. And can I just say, Zero Hour as well, I actually preferred Zero Hour, which was an add-on to Generals. I preferred that over Generals. Fantastic, one of the best, if not the best, Command & Conquer ever written. Fantastic game, absolutely loved this in multiplayer. There can be only one. I'll tell that story sometime. It was just, this game had everything. It had a great balance system, it had some great maps, but it also had some memory problems. and that's why I would like this done again with up-to-date graphics and a memory that allows you to actually not crash when you have a shit ton of units, because that was one of the big problems with Command & Conquer Generals. Now let's move back to World War II for a game that I retro reviewed. It was about maybe a year ago, and that's Call of Duty 2. Call of Duty 1 and 2 and Modern Warfare 2 were the 3 best Call of Duties ever made, hands down, no doubt about it, in my opinion, of course. It's all just opinions. I'm not saying my opinion is the definitive one. It's clearly not. But out of the pick of them, I would just love to see Call of Duty 2 done again, because I thought the scenarios in Call of Duty 2 were just fantastic. I loved the missions. I don't think there was a bad mission in Call of Duty 2, and I'd love to see that get the love that it kind of deserves, because this was when games were fucking good. You know, Call of Duty 2 was probably showed the first signs of dumbing down. Call of Duty 1's the purest one, completely. Call of Duty 2 started to get dumbed down a bit, but there's no denying it was still a fantastically good game. You know, as I'm doing this, I've just realised I'd rather have Medal of Honor Allied Assault than Call of Duty 2. But I can't, because that would go over the 10. But it's my video, I can have it over 10. So I'm going to say I'd rather have that for the multiplayer as well. Because I think that was a way better game, especially the beach landing in Medal of Honor Allied Assault. So I'm going. In fact, do you know what? I want Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Mac, you just want everything. I want Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I want Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Had amazing gameplay. It was obviously we do have a new Wolfenstein coming out tonight, which I'll be reviewing. But Return to Castle Wolfenstein, what a great game. Medal of Honor Allied Assault, what a great game. And hey, Call of Duty 2, what a great game. Do the fucking lot. Honestly, if developers are sitting there scratching their head releasing shite and just wondering why they're making no money, watch this video. There's 12 games there. You'd make a fortune if you redone any of them, because they'd all sell well, because they're all great fucking games. Not like the shite that's been released recently. So there you go, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you in my Wolfenstein Youngblood review, which will be out in the next 24 hours, hopefully.